everybody. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I was having a bit of technical issues. For whatever reason, my camera was turned around and I couldn't figure out why. Um, so I just wanted to fix that before I jumped on here. So I'm excited. We're going to play with the Fall for Toile. I have a couple of ideas for today that we're going to play around with. We're going to do some coloring, and I'm excited to be here. So as you jump on, hi Wanda, thanks for joining. I hope y'all are having a great weekend, and I am going to just do a couple things quick before we get going. Just because I got too many screens open. We're going to have issues if I don't clean this up. So just getting all that situated. Okay, I think we're good now. All right, so just a reminder that we are in the subscription period for, do I have it? I do. There we go. We are in the subscription period for Cozy Christmas October, and that subscription period will end on October 10th. So we have a couple of weeks still. That's going to be heartfelt Christmas cards. That's like a classic Christmas, so red and green. It's going to have some really fun elements in it because it's going to have some flocking paper that's like flock, so it'll feel a little bit like velvet. So I'm excited for that and can't wait to play with that. In the meantime, we're going to play with this one. The next quarter of dies are also available. They're called Abundant Joy dies, and they have some really cute dies available. So there's a nice joy. I haven't received those yet, I don't think. I ordered them. I think they're in a box I haven't opened. Oh my goodness. It has been a week. I don't know about you, but anyhow, we are going to play with Fall for 12. And also, coming up is World Card Making Day. And Stampin' Up! Has an event for that. You're welcome to register for that if you haven't already. There is, some there's a kit called Handmade and Heartfelt that's going to coordinate with that. Hey, Jaylene, how are you? Thanks for joining. Um, and so if you have that kit, you want to jump in. But I would register even if you don't have the kit, because that way you'll get access and get all the information. I even think that Stampin' Up! Plans to give away something at the end of it to everybody. So, don't miss out on that. Okay. So, the other thing I wanted to tell you is that I am preparing a class for Christmas cards. So I'm excited to do that. It's going to be a Zoom class. And so I'll be announcing that in the next week or so. And so I can't wait to do that with everybody that signs up. So we are going to be using some of the um, ephemera packs that are in the store, and the card and envelope packs that are plaid in it's like a garden green and a crumb plaid with gold foil. It's beautiful. And so we're going to create some cards with that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll be announcing that soon. So hopefully some of you will join me. And let's go ahead and get busy down at the table. So let me get us situated there. All right. And let me see if I can put myself, there we go. Trying to be available and on the screen a little bit. So All right, so last week we unboxed this kit and we made the cards that the kit was designed to create, and they are gorgeous. I don't know if you have your kit yet, but if you haven't received your kit yet, you're going to love it. And I'm sorry if you haven't received it, but hopefully by now you have it and are getting a chance to start to play with it. But these cards are really beautiful. They have a little bit of foiling elements on each of the cards, had a little bit. And so we are going to start to play around with the elements of the kit. Plus, we're going to bring in some additional products. So I am using today the Amber Autumn. We're going to play around with some of the dies in here. So we're going to be using this beautiful background die. And I have used the little leaf die that's in here as well. We're not using any of the stamps. I'm just using the dies. And then I mentioned last week, we're going to play around with some of these rub-ons. I think that will be fun. And then, of course, I have my blender pens out. We're going to do some coloring. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Wanda. I'm so glad. And we're going to do some coloring and let's just see where it takes us, okay? All right, so my first little package of goodies, because I've tried to do some of the prep beforehand, just to kind of make things a little bit easier is so I did tell you we were going to use this die cut piece. And so let me just tell you, you want to make sure that you get a good, when you use this through your machine, your cut and emboss machine, like you want to make sure you have a good plate on it because I had some trouble getting all the little pieces. And so, be gentle with it. And I did this with the piece of the card base. So I don't know if you can see, but it is one of the card bases from the kit. And so it's a little thicker than DSP. And anyway, so I did finally get a good cut. And so we're playing with that. But let me just tell you that I cut my piece to a 4¼ by 4 inches by 5¼ and then I placed my die on there and centered it so that I ended up with this nice frame around the edge. Okay, and I did not have to trim or do anything. I was able to get a very nice cut on it. So just keep that in mind as you're playing around with some of these pieces. The other thing that I brought into this is the specialty paper. It's called Earthen Toned Metallic, and it is number 165901. And so I just love it. It's kind of like almost like a chocolate brown bronze kind of. And so we're going to be putting that in the background of this. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I have a card base of early espresso that's 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½ inches. And then I have another piece that is 4 inches by 5¼ to put on the inside of our card. And then I use some of the current die cuts that are available this quarter, and they are called the Circle of Season dies. And so I use these to cut some leaves and some acorns, and just wanted to kind of bring that in this time. And so we've got some fun going on there. Then of course I have the die cut from the kit, okay? And I have this sentiment die cut as well. So I haven't decided if we're using both of these or not. Kind of like designing as we go. The other thing I am going to be using with this is the Early Espresso and Old Olive Linen Thread Pack. So I'm going to get that out. We're going to be using that as well on here. So we're going to actually be using both of those on this project. So we're going to do a little bit of stamping first. And so I want to go ahead and decide what I'm not going to do our final sentiment for the front, but I do want to do a little bit of stamping for the inside of our card. So I think I'm not necessarily going to put any type of words on the inside. I think I just want to add just a little bit of decorative piece. So we're going to add the birds at the top of the page. So we had already checked this out last week. So this stamp should be good. All right. And I can't remember what I decided. Let me look at here. Yeah, 4 on top. That's the way this goes. All right. And so we're just going to stamp that down right up here in the corner. And then I am going to use the pumpkins. And this one I haven't used yet. So let's go ahead and rub on this. I did go ahead and mount up all of my stamps today just because I wanted to be ready. So let me grab my little test sheet and we'll test this one out real quick and make sure that it is getting a good um, stamped image. Oh, that's really nice. I like the stamps in this set. They're so pretty. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to add our pumpkins right down here at the bottom. And this is just going to be just stamped. We're not going to color on this particular one, but I am going to put them right at the very bottom of the page there. And I think that's all we're going to do on the inside of here. I think that's it. All right. So then we'll have that for that piece. Okay. And then I am going to grab my silicone mat because I do want to do a little bit of color onto our acorn pieces. So what I have here is a little bit of crumb cake that I used for the top of the acorn. And then this piece is the pecan pie. And so I have the pecan pie ink out. I thought we would do a little bit of color onto these pieces, okay? And so we're just going to put a little bit of dimension onto our little pecan pie pieces. And so I don't know if you can see that, but just want to give it that little more of like a little bit of a chestnut color so that they have a little bit more color and depth to them. I don't know, maybe you can see better there. But then I am going to do just a little bit on the top of our acorn here and just give that a little bit of color as well. So we have that piece. So now if you could see those next to each other, I think that would help you to tell the difference between them just so you can see how that is. Now also on this acorn top, I'm going to use my poking tool and I'm just going to go in and kind of press out some of these little, I don't know, like half circle edges that are on here to give the acorn top just a little bit more texture. Um, and look, all right. So I'm trying not to poke myself or push the other ones back down. Um, so I don't know if you can see that. What I'm doing is kind of poking those out and see better on this side. That's really hard to see, but um, I am just poking these out so that we get a little bit of dimension and all that to this. So I think that will be nice. There, I don't know if you can see that a little bit better now. There we go. All right, so that's that one. Now let's do the other one here. Now let me go ahead and do this first. Because maybe then we'll get a little bit of a different kind of color when we use the blending brush on the paper. It's hard to get in here without feeling like you're gonna just press them back down. So just be a little bit gentle with it. And it is all these little things that, take a little bit of time, but they add so much to what we're doing on the card, right? So, all right. So now I'm just coming again. And I'm going to go here first. So I have the most ink right now. And so getting my finger all in this. All right. So now I'm just going to kind of rub on top of here. There we go. So now you can see there. I like that. I like how those came out. All right, so that's our little blending there. Now I am going to also use a little bit of this pecan pie on my leaves here on one edge so that I am just getting a little bit of color on my leaves as well. Leaves definitely have dimension, right? And so we want to just go ahead and add some of that here, and not be so stark, I guess, or solid. All right, so there we've added a little bit of color to our leaves. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way because we're going to probably be doing that again. So I'm going to close up my ink and you know what? I think I might do a little bit around the edge of our card base as well. So I'm just going to grab some of this and just come in with a little bit of color just to, I guess, tone down the white and just to color that in just a little bit so that we have just a little bit of color on there. Okay. All right. I think we've done that. Now we will close this up for the time being. All right. And let's go back to our card. All right. So we're just going to add this on the inside of here using our multi-purpose liquid glue. And if I can get it out of my little jar here. And there we go. And so we're just going to put that right down on the inside of here. Oh, I like that. Putting that color around there just warmed it up a little bit. I like that. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and smooth that out and go ahead and varnish our fold line, okay? And I'm gonna set that aside for now. I am going to go ahead and pull off some of this linen thread. Um, and how nice that I was able to find those ends so quickly because I hadn't played with this yet. Oh, I just dropped it. There we go. And let's just see here. What am I going to need? I'm going to get off of here. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm cutting off about 20 inches just to give myself plenty of room. All right, so now we are going to put this down onto this foil piece, and I'm going to use some dimensionals so that we can have a little bit of um, depth behind it. And so I have my mini dimensionals here, and I'm just going to find some places along the edge that I can actually fit a dimensional without it hanging over. Okay. And I may have to do some trimming on some of them so that we have them discreetly placed. Okay. Now I'll take this little one. Oh, I have a little piece here that hasn't popped out. There we go. I think I can add that little one right there. All right, so let's see where else can I place one, a whole one anyway. Huh. Looks like I may have to do some trimming on these just to get what I need. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim a good section here. And to make it easy, I'm just going to cut that right off so that I can just grab these. All right, so now I'm going to have one there. We're going to put one there and there. So I'm just kind of going around the edge of the frame at the moment, and then I'm going to put a few on the inside, wherever I can, just to give it some stability. Okay. And so now I'm gonna cut off some little skinny pieces from this right here. And you always want to use the edge of your dimensionals. Don't let anything go to waste on them. All right. Okay, let's see here if I can find a couple of places to strategically place a dimensional. I think that's hidden. Just want to move it over just a tad. So I think I got it literally right on the edge. All right, now let's see. Where else can I place one? One right there. Is that showing? No, that's good. Let's see. I think I can put one right here. I'd like to get one on here if I can. Just might have to trim this down a little bit. There we go. That one right there. If I get one on here now, I think then I might be good. That one right there. And one right here. Let's see. So I go in there. We got, oh, I could put one right there. And then we will be done. So all the little things that we have to do in order to get things to look beautiful, right? All right, so right here. Okay, I think that'll do it. So I'm going to go ahead and take off all of my little pieces so we can put it down. So how is everybody doing this week? And are you crafting along? I can't wait to see what you guys make with this kit. It's so beautiful. It has so much opportunity, I think. I had kind of a crazy week after having been off and then going back to work. And then I was in an event this week. And so, oh my goodness, I had a lot of things happening. Um, oh, I just took that right off. There we go. There's a lot of these little pieces. All right, I think I got them all now. All right, so we're going to, this is not going to show, okay? So I have made this just about an 1/16 of an inch smaller all the way around, okay? And so it is going to be right behind there. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I just love it. And that pattern paper from the kit, it's absolutely perfect. All right. So then we're going to put this down onto the card base. But before we do, I want to wrap some twine, some of the linen thread around this base. Okay. And we're going to put a bow in it. So I think I want it right here. I want a little bit more of a tail there. So it's going to go right here. And I'm going to have a, I wonder if I have, I think it's enough. A little bit of a floppy bow. So I wanted to make sure I had enough tail there. There. Bring that back. And we're going to bring that back. So we have just a lot of extra floppiness going on, okay? So I am going to just trim this right here, okay? So we were maybe about 4 inches too long, but I think I needed it in order to get it all the way I wanted it. All right, so now let's just situate this where we want it, because I want all of this to be kind of at this side. All right, so I'm just making sure we have it in the right spot. All right, so it's going to go like that. And then this is going to go on top of here. So this is kind of coming off the side, is kind of the plan right here. All right. So I think that's good because I wanted this to be over. Maybe I got it a little bit too far. I'm just tugging on it a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be great. All right. So now I'm going to glue this down onto our card base. So just getting my glue going on both sides of the string, but I'm also going to just put some glue right on the linen thread. Okay. And so now I'm going to put this down. And I'm just trying to make sure I've got it straight. Okay. So there we go. I love it. It's a lot of tone on tone. I don't know about you, but I really like that look. And so that is that base. Oh, this is so pretty. Okay, so we're gonna kind of set that aside for the moment, and we're gonna start to put our things together here. So I am going to just grab my fine tip glue here, and I'm gonna put a little bit of glue at the edge of our little acorn top. And then I'm going to glue that right to it. Okay. Look at those little guys put together. Cute, cute, cute. All right. And then we're going to do the next one. All right. So we have that there. Okay. All right. So, oh, that did not get stuck. There we go. All right. So we're going to use this here as kind of a little bit of a prop in a sense. And what I was trying to decide is if we center these and have a sentiment coming off the side, or I guess I could have the sentiment coming off at the top up here and all this down here. I think that's what we're going to end up doing. I just didn't think I would be able to put a lot on here. Um, so we're going to go ahead and kind of center our acorns on here. I'm going to put one down with glue, and then the other one is going to get put up on dimensionals. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this one down like so. And I'm going to use my piece here that I have left, and actually works great. I'm just going to stick that right on there. And now I'm going to put our little acorns right on there. So that's what we have. All right. And so, oh, thank you. I love it. All right. So let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment now. Now that I know which one of these I'm going to use. So let's go ahead and do Warm Wishes. I think I haven't used this one, so let's go ahead and just prime it and make sure it's all good before we stamp onto our label here. We're going to go ahead and use the Cajun Craze that came in the kit. Perfect. All right, so we got that. Now let's go ahead and stamp right on our label. And let's see here. So I'm going to just try and get this centered. There we go. just like that. Beautiful. Right. All right, so we have that. Okay. All right, so we're just going to add a couple of these little leaves on here around the acorns. Okay, so I'm just going to add one in here and another one next to it, kind of like that. And then let's see if we can get one like that. And whoops, get my little lid out of the way. All right. So just kind of trying to tuck that guy in right there. And then we're going to add one more right here. Like so. So there's our little acorns, and we're just going to add that right on here with some dimensionals. So let's see here. I think if I put one here and one right there, try not to get them to stick down too much to the bottom piece. But I think that'll work. I think those three will work well. All right, so we are just adding this right here, like so. And then we have our little ribbons coming off the side. And then I think what I might do is just put a little glue on here and tack this down. I don't think we need to add it with dimensionals, but I'm going to put some glue right here and right here. And we're just going to tack that right down to the edge. Get it straight. And there is our card. Now, I did have one other thing I wanted to do because, I have them, so why not use them? These are the streak dots. This is 165902. Now, I put a lot of the stuff I'm using in the description with the numbers. There's no links. I'd have to go back and do that. I ran out of time. But I didn't have these on there. So if I get back in there, I'll add them. But I just think these are pretty gorgeous. So I'm trying to figure out where the best place is. So I think I'm going to put one right there. And then we'll put one right here. And we'll add a bigger one right here. And let's see if I can find a place for just two others where we are not. Here, I think that's good. And then one more. Let's see. I think right here. All right, so there you have it. So now we've added a few gems. I just love how this looks. And then we have really fun inside. Okay. All right. So that's our first card. Now I have one more. And this is where we're going to play with some of those rub-ons. All right. So let's get this out. Let me move that out of the way. And let me tell you what I've done here. So I am using the envelopes. So I have cut the tops of the envelopes, and this piece itself is 3/4 of an inch by 4 inches. Okay. And so I have these three pieces and I'm turning them around because they were upside down. I have a bunch of the little leaves that I die cut. So I have pecan pie, Cajun craze, and I have old olive. I have the sentiment banner. I have another piece of the foil, and this piece measures 2 3/4 by 4 inches. Okay. And then I use the card base from the kit. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I grabbed a couple of the foil pieces, which I don't know if you notice, but they match the specialty paper. Okay. All right. So we're going to have this going on here, but before we do it, I'm going to use a little bit of this foiling. I'm sorry, not foiling. I want to use some of these rub-ons, okay? So you have in the rub-ons, there are actually 8 sheets, okay? So you have 2 like this in gold, and then you have 2 the same designs in silver. And then you have 2 like this in gold, and you have 2 in silver, okay? So, oh, I do need a piece on the inside of my card. I just realized I have to trim a piece. I knew I forgot something. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Add this piece. So let me just use it up. All right. So this. All right. So we are going to use some of this foiling, and I just want a little bit of like a splash of it in the background. So I'm actually thinking that I might use this piece here of just some of the splatter that I could put in the background. I do kind of like this, but I think it's too structured for this. Okay. Um, and then we might add something to the inside. Now, if you have these, I want you to know, from what I understand, they're very sensitive. So I think that they're going to be super easy to rub off. So what you want to do is kind of cut out the piece you want so that you don't accidentally get any of the other items stuck to your project. Okay. The other thing I thought I would do is I might add a little piece of this to the inside, okay? So I was thinking I would just add some of this right here along the edge. Oh, maybe I'll do that on the inside because it's kind of like the front, but less. Let's do that. I think that will be more fun. Just a little added element, okay? All right, so I don't know if you've ever used a rub-on before, but I just want to show you. I just love them so much. All right, so there's this backing, right? And so we're just going to peel that, take it off its backing. And I'm just going to add this like right up here in the corner. All right. And I'm just going to take my foam folder and I'm using my sponge bottom, this foam piece, because look how simple that is. All right. I did not press hard at all. But look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And I love how it looks. Now you can touch it now and it's not going to come off, but it looks amazing. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks fantastic. Oh, I love it. All right, so now let me do this other piece for the inside. And I'm just going to add it right up here. And again, like I'm not rubbing very hard at all, but I'm pretty sure it is ready to rock and roll. That is lovely. All right. Um, so fantastic. Just a little extra element that you can bring to your card. I love that so much. All right, so I am going to go ahead and do a little bit of what I did on my other card for the inside. I'm going to grab my silicone mat again, and we have our blending brush here. So I'm going to get, yeah, I'm going to use the pecan pie again. And I'm just going to do a little bit, just a little bit on the edge. Just, I liked how that looked. It just like warmed that whole thing right up. All right. So let me just get all the way around here. I know I'm shaking the table. I'm sorry. It's hard to do this without shaking everything. Especially my table. All right, so there we have that. Oh, I love it so much. That looks so great. All right, so now I am going to just use the little acorn stamp, and I'm going to use the Cajun craze, and we're just going to drop them right in the corner here. So, and that's all we're going to do. Keeping it simple, okay? So now we have that done for our inside, okay? And we're going to need a sentiment for our outside. So just let me get our foam mat here, move our silicone out of the way. So let's do the thinking of you here, and we'll add it right onto this label. And then we'll have that done. All right. I think this just fits on here so perfectly. All right. Nice. There we go. So let's go ahead and add our piece to the inside. I am loving that rub-on. I don't know if you can see it at all, but it is so beautiful. It it just, I don't know. It's better than embossing powder, and it does have a raised edge to it. So it is just everything you could dream it to be. So beautiful. So there's our inside. Love that. All right. Again, we have the card base is the same as before. It's early espresso, 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5. Okay. So I'm just going to set that over here. All right. So I'm going to work with this piece first. All right. So I want to go ahead and start with my Cajun craze. Now, I'm going to have to do a little trimming because I couldn't decide what size I wanted. And so I made these 4.25, just in case I wanted it to go all the way across. But I am not doing that. So we're going to end up trimming off the one side. Okay. So that's that. Then I'm going to flip it over, and now I'm going to put on the pumpkin pie color. My holder. Make sure I get it going in the right direction. Doesn't matter what side I have to cut it off. But what does matter is it being straight. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the top and the bottom on. That way, when I put the center on, I can make sure I have the same amount of foiling on each side. Okay. So that's why I'm doing it like this. I just want to make sure it's in the right direction. Um, this is the right direction. It's hard to see, but the trees, there is, I can tell which is up and which is down. So there we go. I think I got that straight. I think I got it straight, but I'm gonna put my glasses on and make sure. Looks pretty good. All right, so now I'm gonna grab my snips and we're gonna cut off. I'm gonna use my other ones that I don't care if they are dulled or not because that's how they've been used. Um, there was a little glue on the edge and I didn't want to get that on my snips. All right, so there is that. All right, so that's the piece that we're going to be adding to our card, and it's going to go on in this direction, okay? And we have the fun splatter of gold coming up out of the top of there, which I just love. Now, I could do that at the bottom even. No, I want it at the top. All right, so this is going to get added right on there. I'm going to glue that down, and that's how that's going to go down. Yeah, let's go ahead and add that. Again, making sure actions. Everybody going in the right direction. So let me line this up. Make sure we're straight. I think that's straight. There we go. Very nice. Okay. So we are, oh, I meant to put this under here. So here we go. That's going to go in there. And I'll add a little bit of glue back here to prop that down. There we go. And let's go ahead and get our little pieces here. Now, I was going to add a little color to these guys. So let me grab my silicone mat again and our pumpkin pecan pie. And let's just do it right, like not forget all the things. All right. All right, so I have these leaves and I just want to add a little bit of dimension to them. They're hard to get a hold of. They're kind of tiny. But I do think it makes a difference. So if you are using the dies, you might want to consider doing a little blending on them just to add a little dimension here. Plus, I like that it changes the color just a tad, like it almost gives it a bit of an antique-y look. All right, so there's all of those. So we are good on that. All right. Now I think we can focus on putting our card together. All right. So we are going to use this little fun ribbon. Okay. And we're going to use the gold side. All right. But I am going to cut down the center of here just to, bring a little bit of a different texture and a little bit of, I don't know, um, frou-frou is a word that's coming to mind. But I'm trying to think and cut down the center of here the best I can without making a mistake and having to start over. Oh, that would be awful. All right, so I like cutting ribbon apart because it gives just a little bit of a rougher edge and you get a little bit more whimsy. That's the word I was looking for. Get a little bit of whimsy. There. All right, so we're just going to use one of these and we're going to grab a little bit of the brown or early espresso linen thread. So we're just going to get that out here and if you rub your thumb across it, you can take out a lot of those kinks. Okay. And we are going to add this right up here, like so. And I'm going in this little Cajun craze area down here. All right. Now, this one, I don't need a crazy bow. Just want a little. I'm gonna have to make my loop bigger. I have plenty, so I don't know why I'm trying to be skimpy. There we go. All right. There we go. There we go. I love this ribbon. That that sparkle is so great. You see that? It's so lovely. Can't see in there. Now let's just bring my loops down just a tad. And there we go. All right, so let's just trim a little bit of this off. We don't need all that. All right, so there we have that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to tack this down with a glue dot. So, which I actually got them on the table. And I'm so glad. All right, I just like to flip it over on top of itself. So I got just a half of a dot. All right, and now I'm just gonna press it right on there. And that way it's all gonna be nicely tacked down, okay? Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this little guy and he's gonna go right there. All right, you see that? So I'm going to put him down with some glue. Now, let's just make sure we don't get that all gunky. All right, so just, except I think I did already. But I got my handy little thing here with my needle so that I can fix it right away. There we go. Then we'll clean that off later. But continue with our deal here. All right, there we have. That's gonna go right there. Okay. Now let's put in some of these little fun guys around it. All right, so let's add, first let's put a pecan pie. Add him right there. And then let's add in Cajun crepes. So get that going right there. Okay. So we have our that going there. We're going to stick this one underneath the pecan pie right there. Okay. And then let's do again on the other side. All right. So this little guy is going to go right there. And then this one. And we're just going to layer these guys up. Okay. So that looks a little bit like you've got a little bit of a floral piece going on here. Okay. And then I want to add one up at the top of here. Trying to tie all this together right there. There we go. So that's how that kind of looks right there. Okay. Now I am going to just add a couple of these at the top just to bring in a little bit of this color. All right. So we're just tacking these down. And I'm just going to put this one right underneath there, like so. So you have just a little bit of color coming out the top as well. All right. So now we're going to add this to our card front. All right. But we're going to add it with some dimensionals. So let me get my bigger dimensionals here. So we are just going to add right like that. So it's just going to pop it up a little bit. We should still only have about one layer of dimensionals with the bow and everything. Okay, so now let's just put this down on here. Make sure I've got it straight. There we go. Like so. And then we'll add our sentiment right on this pumpkin pie right here. And there you have it. Thinking of you. And then we have that on the inside. But you're popped up. You have a little bit of dimension there, which I love. It shouldn't be any higher than the bow itself. All right. But let's add some of these beautiful gems, which again are called streak dots. And we won't put a bunch on here. We'll just put a couple. So I think maybe a couple right there. So one there, and then maybe one right up here like that. There we go. What do you think? I hope you like this. Awesome. All right. So I did have one other card. I'm trying to decide if we do it real quick. It's actually kind of partially done. So let's just do it. If you need to go ahead and go. I totally understand. But I like to try to get these in so that we can get more done next time. So I kind of already started to make this card because in my event, I was showing off my trimmer and I was showing how I cut this. So what we have is an old olive card base that is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. I am using the DST from the online store called Gathering Together. It's number 165969. And this is one side of the DSP, and this is the other side. Okay. So I don't know if you can see that, but I just love this. It's so beautiful. All right. And so we're gonna do a little bit of coloring on here. Um, but maybe we'll keep it super simple and we won't do a bunch of coloring. We'll do that another day. All right, let me close this up before I have a trouble again. Um, there we go. All right, so we're going to, let's see, start to lay this out. So our little guy is going to go right here. And we'll keep this one simple. We won't add a bunch of ink to our elements, and that way you'll see the difference. Okay. We'll do these together pretty easily and as quick as we can, so we're not here all night. Okay. So just putting our acorns together. Again, I have the same papers as before. So I have the pecan pie and I have a crumb cake top. All right. And we're just gluing our acorn top on. All right. And so we're going to add that right here to our card, right? Okay. Now I have a couple of these are the leaves that I used from the what did I say was the name of that? It's the Amber Autumn. I use the Amber Autumn dies. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and put these down. They are going to go right. Let's see here. Put these under here. We're going to put them right there. Okay. So we are just adding these beautiful leaves right under here. They're going to be kind of in a little cluster. Okay. And I just have the early espresso, old olive, and Cajun craze cut, just one of each. All right. I'm just layering those up. They're going to go right there. All right. And then cool. Thought I had other little leaves out here, but I'm not seeing them. Here, I have that one. Do I have one more? There we go. All right, so now let's do our little deal here. So we're going to put one of these down like so. And I'm going to add our little leaves. There. and here, like that. Okay. This one we're going to put on dimensionals. That's all I need. All right, so we're just going to add this guy right here. And then we'll add our leaves up here, like so. So that's going to go right on here. Yeah, it's going to go right there like that. And we are going to do a sentiment. We're going to use this piece. Or maybe I'll use this one. And then we'll trim it down. So we're going to use this that says, wishing you the happiest of days. That way this could actually be a birthday card if I want it to be. All right, so I'm just going to put this right here and then we'll trim it. Probably could have used that other one, but oh, that is not very straight, is it? That's all right. We're going to go with it. All right. And just to do a little bit of something different, we're going to go ahead and kind of rough up the edge of this. There are tools that do this. I just tend to always use my scissors like that. But I think that gives it a little bit of a rustic feel. Now I'm going to go ahead and just warm it up a little bit since I have the ink on my blending brush right there. I love that. Okay. All right. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to add this right here. And this little guy is going to go there. All right. Now, do I want any like frou-frou stuff underneath of here? I could easily add some of this ribbon underneath of here. Let's do that. Let's get some dimensionals on here and see what we can tack down. Doing like a little bit of a faux bow behind here with this ribbon. So definitely let's go ahead and trim that off. Well, all right, so now that's going to go right here. And that's going to go right on here. Just scooting that up just a tad. There we go. Now we're just gonna glue this down right in the corner here. And we have our little bow there. What do you think? I love the colors too, Jaylene. So pretty. All right, on the inside, I had this piece. All right. and but it wasn't really big enough, so I improvised. But I thought I might as well use it. And so we're going to add it at the top of here. And then we're going to fill in the bottom. All right. So the first one I'm going to put on is this side. I didn't need all this paper, but this is how it ended up. All right. So I'm just going to bring that color in because it's on the front. Okay. And then we're going to add this on top of it. Just like this. There we go. So we have just that fun on the inside. Okay. All right. And then if we wanted, we could add a couple of these gems. And so why not? Because we can. Let's just put one here, another one there, and then we'll add one over. Let's see, right here. There we go. And there's our third card with my crooked sentiment. Love it. Now you could do some fun stuff. You could add some Stella if you wanted. You could do all kinds of stuff, but I think they're beautiful. So I hope you like them. And will leave me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my page or my channel, please subscribe. Helps people find me when you do, and share my stuff. But this is what we have for today. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next week for more fun with alternates with Fall for Toile. Bye, everybody.